first like to say God is good all the time. Once again, I repeat that. God is good all the time. Now, I have an interesting quote. Maybe if we had more boots on the ground as politicians than those with wingtips and high heels at the state capitol as lawmakers, maybe we can actually believe that our representatives are acting on behalf of the American people and Virginia citizens and not in the pockets of lobbyists. Hmm, that was so interesting. It was so touching to actually read that. So, I'm hearing a lot of people talking trash. I'm hearing a lot of people trying to make excuses. I'm hearing a lot of people duck and dodge and try to figure out a way out of the inevitable. That's called Amanda Chase and Democrats because they all in the same bag, and that's how I feel about them. Now, some people may say, Rutledge, you're turning it up another gear, and you have a problem with the establishments. Yes, I do. I always had a problem with the establishments because, for one, they are not working for the American people. They are working for themselves and the lobbyists and the rest of those special interest groups that line their pockets. See, we don't have enough politicians with boots on the ground. People who actually experience the fight. People who actually stands up against controversy. Those who ain't paid to be there, they are there for love for God and country and everything that stands for. See, when you have your wingtips and your high heels and you're only around for those lobbyists that decide to go ahead and pay you money to show up for a meeting and discuss exactly how they're going to screw over America, then that's exactly why America is burning down right now because people have lost faith, they have lost trust in those who they have voted for to do the job. They said one thing on the campaign pamphlets and in their speeches and did exactly the opposite. That's why people don't call on politicians right now. See, people have to call on to their neighbor, to their friends, and those who they are asking for why did they make the decision to put somebody in that keeps taking our freedoms out? Why do we continue to walk in the wrong direction? Because we have politicians that ain't right. See, people can make excuses. That's one of the things that people do. And I'm going to get my phone real quick because I ain't through yet. And I like to make sure people know when I decide to talk, I'm definitely going to be heard. Now, as far as I'm concerned, all these people talking trash, all these people talking about their rights and freedoms, all these people throwing blame, and all this kind of gameplay and stuff like that, it ain't going to cut butter. It ain't going to work for what we have going on today because people are no longer going off of what your name is, what office you hold, whatever, because they are saying you're part of the same damn swamp and we want Rutledge to walk a mud puddle in that swamp and walk it dry. That's exactly what they're asking for, and they ain't making excuses. See, when Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and all these rest of these groups show up, you saw what was in the staged event when the Tea Party and the fellow patriots that stood behind the men and women of blue, they was there. See, I didn't see any wingtips. I didn't see any other candidates. I didn't see those who talked the trash wasn't backing it up. They was at home comfortable going to the next fundraiser while Patriots was out there trying to still defend what we have left in our United States Constitution, what we have left for those who protected with their life. They was there. They was in the moment. They was part of history. And they was standing against a crowd of those who was asking for more guidance too, were asking for more policy changes too. The problem was, where was the politicians at the battlefield, at ground zero? Where was the politicians at while they was demanding and asking for answers? Where were they at to be there to confront those who was asking for solutions to the problems that have been causing America to go out of control, where we don't even know what America is anymore? See, where was the politicians then? See, you could vote for the BS. You can vote for the same direction, because everybody in Richmond is exactly the reason why we're going through the mess today. And you can't excuse that. You can't justify that. We got Republicans being bullied. And we got people who can barely even stand without oxygen still out there, still fighting for the love of country, because that's all they have left, and they want to see their families have a future that they can believe in. They want their families to be able to walk the streets. They want their families to be able to feel safe when necessary, and they want to make sure their family know that they can depend on them, but also depend on those that are there, regardless of who you are or what you are. They are there to make sure law and order is exactly the priority that we all look for in a free nation. But too sadly, too many people go for appearances, gimmicks, and gamemanship and stuff like that. And then at the same time frame, what do they say when the time comes? Where is my representative? Where is those who I voted for to be here standing next to me, side by side? My fellow brother and sister, those who I knocked on doors, those who I made the phone calls, those who I write the letters, those who I speak up for every single time. Where are you at when I need for you to speak up for the Virginia citizens? Where are you at to speak up for those who had done the hard work? Those were the boots on the ground. You was nothing but the token that went with more political BS. Today, a lot of parents all over this great Commonwealth of Virginia are talking to their kids now as their sports, as their schools have now became social media, where people worked hard during the summer and the off season to get prepared for competition, get prepared for excellence, get prepared for education and the curriculum that was yearning for their minds. Where it happened to the politicians? The politicians was the ones taking everything out of America. I don't care if you're Democrat, I don't care if you're Republican, I don't care if you're Libertarian, whatever you are that's up there in Richmond. You have failed the Virginia citizens. You have shown that the crisis of leadership isn't with the community leaders, it's with the politicians up there in Richmond called the damn swamp. But people want to talk about they are the working Americans' major voice. But where was your major voice when we needed it the most? Let me sip on my coffee. Where were you at when the streets was burning? Where were you at when those who stood for America and those who stood against America was duking it out on the streets? Where were you at? But I can say more than likely where the American people and the Virginia citizens probably know where you was at. You was profiting off the chaos. You was making your name talking tough to a crowd that wasn't there where they should have been there, where the Tea Party and the rest of 2A and the rest of those Americans that was fighting back against those who tried to destroy it. But where were you at? You was at a photo op being armed, locked and loaded and looking badass, but you wasn't at where the badasses were at. See, I don't care too much about people who talk trash, those who bark and don't bite. I don't care too much about those who make excuses, those who blame other people. There comes a time where you have to be held accountable. There comes a time where you have to say that you're responsible. See, leaders don't do what cowards do because it's not in them. But a coward is always in a coward no matter how much they promote themselves as not being one. Because when it matters, the coward is going to show, not the leadership. Now, we are being bullied. And we are not supposed to be being bullied as law-abiding Americans. We are supposed to be protecting country and making sure the bullies know that their day is numbered. And it continues to be as we make examples of them every single day here in our great blessed Commonwealth of Virginia and setting the tone all across America that America fights back. But see, politicians ain't doing that right now. They're writing letters and giving out statements, telling the boots on the ground to do the job that they refuse to do. Having the boots on the ground, taking on the fights that they refuse to do. I remember when politicians was the generals in the war. I remember when the politicians was out there in the battlefield. I remember the history behind that, which all of these leftist groups are trying to take away. But it seems like the ones that claim they all for history and protecting history are doing exactly the running away that real leaders don't do. Because they haven't had that fight. They haven't had that battle. They haven't been tested, and they're getting tested now, and we seeing a measure of cowards compared to the heart and soul of leadership. You want to tell me I'm worried when I'm out there on the battlefield at ground zero facing hundreds of protesters face to face, not hiding behind a computer, not running like a coward, saying directly whenever you want to see me and vice versa. I ain't going to run like the other politicians. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to duck. I'm going to be the general that is needed for America and be the leadership so even those who follow your lead know exactly that Merle Rutledge and the Republicans that back him is not going to run. The Tea Party that backs him is not going to run. We are going to be there face to face, and we are going to get the job done one way or the other. But we ain't going to run. We ain't going to be at a fundraiser when we need to be on the battlefield. We ain't going to be at a private meeting when we need to be on the battlefield. We ain't going to be behind armed guards being protected where we need for your armed guards to be out there protecting America. But you want to call yourself a leader? You want to call yourself a politician? You want to call yourself the only candidates running for governor? I said exactly. That's the top level of leadership. And we don't need cowards at that top level because we're seeing what cowards do. Look at our monuments at a waste treatment plant. But where were you at, Mr. and Mrs. Politician, Mr. and Mrs. Democrat or Republican, Mr. and Mrs. House Speaker, Mr. and Mrs. wherever the hell you are? Right now, they are showing results. And right now, Republicans need to fight back and know that there's going to be a leader that is going to stand with them and not hide from them and just show up when it's convenient. But you want to call yourself a leader. You want to call yourself what's needed to move Virginia forward. You want to call yourself being able to stop a riot. You want to call yourself throwing police underneath the bus. You want to call yourself the leadership that Virginia needs. And all you Democrats and Republicans that's running has been running from the very people that you said exactly you would defend America against. And you want to talk about your leader. You want to talk about you got the heart and the soul. You want to talk about all this. All you've been doing is talking. That's it. And we are fed up here in America. Law-abiding Americans who care about their country and their family and making sure that we make the best decisions and we don't negotiate with terrorists are seeing the negotiations going on with those who they are funding. You might as well say funding a politician is funding the terrorism, is funding our constitutional rights being taken away. You are funding those who couldn't get the job done and left Virginia behind. You are funding those who have made Virginia a blue state that we no longer know what Virginia is, but except for the people that continue to say we don't comply. And that ain't from a politician. That is from law-abiding Americans and patriots that have been doing it each and every day, defying a tyrant governor's order and saying exactly, you, Governor Northam, must go. We must stop Northam. We must remove Northam. We must get rid of Democrats. But how are we going to do that if we are not out there putting in the work? For far too long, we have let our state go into the dark. We have allowed for our country and Virginia to change in the ways of socialism. We have allowed and watched and basically gave out excuses to leaders that can't lead. They follow. They follow in the footsteps of cowards. But it's funny, and it's not funny, to know that America has many that talk, view that are patriots, because it gets much different for politicians when it's time to do patriot shit. It does. See, when people have to go through special maneuvers and red tape and more to face the American people, to face the people who they talk trash about, to face the people who supported them, that lets you know what side they are on. That lets you know they are not on America's side. And for them to claim it, and they always do during the election year, they always seem to be the fighter. But what were you doing the last couple of years where we was expecting you to fight and we never saw you show up? Oh, I was getting ready to run for another office. I was trying to make sure I didn't say the wrong thing. I wanted to speak proper. I wanted to do everything just perfect. And I didn't want to stand in any kind of controversy. I didn't want to be criticized. These are the politicians of today. These are the politicians that's already in office. So, patriots, fellow Americans from all walks of life. You have to really decide. You really have to have that sit down. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever, you have to decide, do I want to live like this? Do I want to continue to know anytime frame something similar like this, my whole world can be shut down. My kids' world can be shut down. Their dreams and their future can be shut down. And you look at all of those politicians in Richmond and DC. Those, I want you to look at all the stuff they said to you before they got their vote, before you gave it to them. And I want you to say, did you do what you said that you was going to do for America? Because how can I be free if who I voted for put me into a prison? And I didn't even have a chance for due process because guess what? You made every reason for my voice not to be heard during this time frame. So this is what America is going to become for my kids and my future. This is what I had planned for them. This is how I want to look at them, saying that you no longer have a world you can go outside to, but you have to stay inside, hidden out of view. So the world can't see the light that's been shining in their minds of what they would love to do for America, this country. And you're telling me they gotta live with the decisions of what you choose for them, instead of them being able to embrace who they want to be. See, you don't go to groups and you don't go to people, politicians, expecting it to be friendly, expecting to sidestep the questions, and then keep saying, I need to do more listening, less talking. People want to know where you stand. People want to know, are you going to continue to allow us to get bullied? Because we've been financing your campaigns, but we have been getting bullied over exactly what we're paying for. Maybe we either deserve it, or maybe we need to wake up and stop saying excuses is going to be acceptable. It's going to be enough. Because we have heard enough excuses. We are living with the reality. America, Virginia, when people talk about me, they talk about a fighter. They talk about somebody who spoke for people who felt like they didn't have a voice. When people talk about me, they say he's a champion for the ordinary, hard-working man or woman. He has risen to occasions where politicians didn't show up to even be planted as a seed. I have drove every inch of Virginia. I have fought with my heart and soul to exhaustion. But I said I would never give up on America, and I would never give up on what I stand for. And that is making sure all of our constitutional rights are protected. Our freedoms, whether it runs counter from what I agree or disagree with, I protect it due to the fact it's the American way. And I believe so much in the Constitution. I believe in our founding fathers and our principles that have moved forward and evolved over time. That was the mentorship I needed. I needed to see people who sacrificed and was in prison. I needed to see how those who was in prison was able to set a world free. Because when America sees and knows and has learned the history and the knowledge behind exactly how America was built, that develops into our children and in their minds to never give up on their dreams. See, too many say they are running for a white Virginia. Too many are saying they are running for a black Virginia. Too many are saying they are running for a blue Virginia. We will and always will be the Commonwealth of Virginia. We will all be American citizens, American law abiding, and those who go against that, those who intimidate, harass, and preach fear and act with hate will never take away from the Virginia spirit, our freedoms, our rights, our privileges, our traditions. That's what we have here in Virginia. Just like so many people all across this country that are fighting for each and every bit of it. Maybe we got complacent. Maybe we thought we had it easy because it was given to us easy. Right now, the politicians are talking about entitlement. They are the ones with the entitlement. They are the ones being paid by the government. They are the ones who are out there because they are politicians, not because they're speaking for the American people. Because the American people right now don't give a damn about a politician. They don't give a damn about how perfect you are. They don't give a damn how well you speak. Because right now you ain't speaking for them. Because if you were speaking for them, we would not be in this situation right now. We are in this situation because of the cowards of leadership. And I'll be damned if I allow some phonies to keep going ahead and putting Virginia in the wrong damn direction. See, that's the problem with these pencil pushers, bootlickers, those who kiss ass every single time the dollar sign shows up. They'll show up for a fundraiser, but they won't show up for America, and that's been the problem. We have paid the price for their ignorance for far too long. And you want to talk about Merle Rutledge and what he stands for? Find out the history, find out the legacy. Get to know it well. And one thing it's going to say, he ain't no damn politician. So that's the difference of what you're facing, and it's clear cut. You either want a patriot running Virginia, opening back up Virginia, opening back up the schools, protecting our gun rights, protecting life, protecting the fact that we are tired of the government having their hands in our pocket. You gonna vote for Merle Rutledge, the man with the plan, the man without the gimmicks. That's a straight shooter, smash mouth type of candidate that ain't taking no bullshit from nobody. Because we've been getting that from you politicians, and it smells all across America. Because you can talk tough all you want to, but America knows the truth that you ain't speaking up for America. You're speaking up for yourself. Because anytime for America needed y'all to speak up, right now you had done everything to make sure America stays silent. Where the hell are you at when America needs its constitutional rights? Because you're being paid to take them away. You're being paid to placate and say we fighting for you, but we haven't seen you throw a punch. All we have seen is exactly what we expect out of a politician, and we have seen exactly why we are so disgusted to this day. Because we thought our vote meant something, and I'd be damned if people's vote don't mean that they are going to start getting exactly what they voted for, not getting somebody who just needs another job that pays monthly with a guarantee and a stipend and health benefits, that doesn't give a damn about America and those situations that they don't get that you get because you're entitled by a politician. See, the cops is tired of it. All of America is tired of it. The U.S. military is even tired of it. Everybody who works hard, those who has put a brick on their house, those who have worked and busted their ass to get to their goals are tired of you politicians. I don't care if you're a Virginia senator. I don't care if you've been an ex-governor. What y'all all have forgot and misunderstood and probably don't get it, that America is looking for what is going to bring back America and make it great again. And we can't do that with the swamp that continues to go ahead and eat us up from the inside on out. People are depressed because they're tired of seeing those oppressors that isn't slave masters. They are now taking the place of politicians. So stop saying the KKK is in a police uniform. Actually, the supremacists are wearing suits and ties and talking good, but their whole core is corrupt from the shoe tips all the way up to the shoulder blade of yellow and on their back. Now it's time for America to speak back and fight back for America and speak back for our country and speak back for our God that has said exactly America will not be taken over. America will fight back. My name is Merle Rutledge and I am running for the 2021 Governor of Virginia for the Republican nomination. Get used to it, because I ain't the typical Republican, because I only know patriot language. The politicians knows bureaucrats. And you have a wonderful day.